Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rachel. In today's video, I wanted to go over everything that I read in January. So in January, I read 5 books, and I'm going to start with the one book that I don't actually have the physical copy of. That was the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, and I liked that book. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was entertaining. It definitely was one of those books that keeps you guessing and trying to figure out like what the heck is going on, but it wasn't, I think, for me. Like, I don't think I will be continuing on with the series, unfortunately. Like I said, I gave it 3 stars. I enjoyed my experience with the first one, but not to a point where I felt like I needed to read the rest of the series. If you've read the rest of the series, if you read the whole trilogy and you think I absolutely need to finish it, then please let me know in the comments below. But as of right now, I think I'm good with just the first one. And then I read Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. And this book I actually read because Nita from Stories with Nita picked it out for me in our little video swap that we did. If you haven't seen her video, go check that out. Or if you haven't seen my video, go check that out. I'll have everything linked in the description. But with that being said, I do have a vlog up of me reading Vampires of El Norte and all of my thoughts and feelings about this book. I absolutely loved it. I thought this book was fantastic. I don't want to go too far into it because I don't want it to be repetitive, but if you haven't read this book and you enjoy more of that like gothic vampire that's like not really about the vampires but about what they mean, what they represent, then I definitely would pick this up. If you also want to read something by a Hispanic author, I would 100% recommend anything by Isabel Cañas. Her writing was absolutely beautiful. Next, I have Hemlock and Silver by Kingfisher. I really enjoyed this book. This was really fun. I did a tandem read. I listened to it and followed along on the physical copy. The book is really cool looking. You've got the green sprayed edges. The front is beautiful. The end papers are really fun, but I didn't absolutely like fall in love with this book. I really enjoyed it and I am glad that I read it, and I would definitely recommend it to people. I'm also just kind of happy that it is a single like standalone. It follows a woman who is a healer and she deals with poison and venom, and the king of where she lives comes to her and tells her that his daughter is, he presumes, being poisoned, and he requests her help, and she goes and is helping his daughter, and the story unfolds from there. It's a tad bit confusing. Like, I understood the magic system. It was a very unique magic system. I just felt like there was something missing. Like, it was lacking more information. And I don't know if it because it was a standalone that Kingfisher felt like maybe they couldn't dive into it so much. But I definitely would recommend it. I would 100%. If you enjoy Kingfisher, I would read this book. If you like fantasy that kind of steps beyond the norm as far as magic systems go, I would definitely recommend it. I really don't see a person who I wouldn't recommend this book to unless you just don't ever read fantasy. There is the slightest bit of romance in this book, and it is so subplot that I like ate it up. I love a romance that is subplot and that is yearning and that, you know, they're fighting for this relationship and this love, and that's exactly what this book was in that aspect, and I absolutely love that. So there is a little bit of romance, but it's not at the forefront, so don't read this book thinking it's a romantasy because I would not classify it as that, but I would recommend it. With all that being said, this next one is kind of a shock, I feel like, to the system when I talk about how I don't like insta love. I don't like a lot of spice because I read Kiss of the Basilisk by Lindsey Straub. Yeah. I gave this book 3 stars. It was interesting. There is plot, but you don't really get it until about 40% of the book. So about 40% of the way through, I was no longer really reading the spice scenes. I was just basically skimming them to make sure there was no important information in them, which most of the time there was not. I read it for a book club, which is why I read it. I did own the book prior to that. I went with my friend to a signing. It was my first book signing ever, actually, that I went to, and I went with her because my friend, because she asked me to. So I do have the book signed. Sorry, it's really hard for me to like hold the mic and the book, but I'm trying to figure out like a good system for sound. So anyway, if you don't like spice, don't read this book. Like that's just, it's plain and simple. If you do not enjoy spice, if you do not enjoy insta love, do not read this book. Like I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not kidding. This isn't a joke. Like don't read the book. But if you are open to it, if you are comfortable with that, or if you enjoy that, then, you know, I would maybe say yes if you really truly are okay with like every other page there being something like spicy on the scene on the page. Like I said, about 40% in, you really get the plot, and it is an interesting plot, so much so that I will be reading the second one despite how I feel about spice and insta love. There is a character in this book that I am just so intrigued by, and I really want to know what happens to them in their story, and I will be reading it, especially after the prologue. So Kiss of the Basilisk. Yeah. And the last book that I read in January was A Game of Thrones by George R. Martin. This book, first of all, very floppy. I love it. But as you can see by the tabs, I don't know, sometimes my camera doesn't autofocus. But I loved this book. I thought it was fantastic. I was shocked by my feelings towards this book. I was not expecting to love it so much because I have never seen the show, and I did not really quite understand, I think, what this book was really about, what the story was really about, because I started reading it and like almost immediately I was like, yes, I love this. I love well, I shouldn't say all. I love a lot, most of the characters and the plot and just everything about it. It was shocking, jaw-dropping, absolutely devastating, insane, crazy. All of the adjectives, that's what it was. It was everything and more, and I love it. And I can't wait to read the next one. Those were all of the books that I read in January. I hope that maybe one of them sounds intriguing to you. Let me know in the comments what your favorite book of January was. Mine was probably A Game of Thrones. And I hope to see you guys all in the next one. I try and post every Wednesday and Friday. Emphasis on try. But if you guys like my content, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.